If we
And
rush, we can probably make it.
and
Yes, we should probably head on ways. We'd very much. Do you happen to have a brochure of your show?
Your troop.
We'll track you down another time.
Borsuk,
That sounded threatening.
Yeah.
as you guys are talking, Borsuk like jumps down from the bench and he says, "Well, you guys have to see our play. You guys can't just leave." And he starts kind of like trying to herd you guys towards the back of the wagonies. And as he does that, Gordon kind of hops down off the bench as well, and he's like, "Oh, fine, young folks. I mean, it'll only take a moment for us to show you what we have prepared for you." And he reaches up to the
really pushy.
Yeah, they're very
Yeah, they're
pushy.
pretty persistent.
He reaches up to the side of his cart, and he pulls a little latch and he swings it out, and inside you see like hundreds of little puppets of all kinds of colors and monsters and princesses and mermaids and horses and fantastical creatures and things like that. And he's like, "Of course you want to see our good puppet show. I mean, you can't just leave without seeing the show. It's not everyone that runs into us on the road like this. As a matter of fact," and he starts to climb up into the wagon. What do you guys do?
Can I roll perception to make? Can I roll perception to make sure these
Yeah.
aren't like cursed evil dolls or something?
Of course.
Can I please pull out
Yeah,
my
I'm,
dagger?
Pull out
I'm
your dagger.
keeping an eye on everything.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull it out and like back away from them and say, "Don't touch me." That's very rude.
And while you guys are all doing this, Ugna goes, I don't understand. I want to see what. And he sees all the dolls, and like his eyes just get huge.
Oh no.
And he's like,
Oh no,
oh.
we lost him.
And like
Mhm.
We've lost him.
he's like in a trance, just like walking towards the wagon. He's like, so.
Hey,
many
Agna, I understand you want to see the show, but there's a storm coming in, and we can end up stuck in cold weather and freezing.
Yeah, we need to go.
He
I
doesn't.
I would
prefer
prefer not to get rained on.
So
Yeah.
when Gordon sees Ugna kind of like walking up to the cart, he goes, "Oh, at least we have one interested patron." And he says, "Would you like to see one?" And he kind of like he grabs a doll or a puppet from the rack, and he leans out and he holds it out towards Ugna. And Ugna like
No.
reaches his hand
No,
out
Ugna.
towards the
Don't
doll.
touch it, Ugna.
And like,
Ugna, it's cursed.
he's not paying attention to you, and he grabs a hold of the doll and like
No.
Damn it!
and he looks at it and he's like,
Someone grab Ugna.
"It's so beautiful. There's so many of them. Are you?" And he said, "Show me the play." And so Gordon says, "Absolutely." And so he grabs like a horse and a doll with red hair and a bow strapped to her back, and he puts the puppet on the horse, and he starts riding it in like a showy voice he says, "And in the beginning, Sapphire rode into the town of Winfra," and he starts going through the play, and you can tell that it's a reproduction of the story of the dragon. Are you guys gonna let him keep going, or what do you guys do?
Actually, Poet's like immediately, like as soon as she hears that it's Sapphire, she's like, "Oh, I want to watch it." And she goes and sits beside Ugna.
Okay, we lost Sapphire or poetry now.
Okay, so as
I'm gonna stand behind poetry, just kind of waiting for this to become cursed evil dolls and looking out for her.
Okay, then I'm going
Yeah.
to sit next to Ugna, and I'm gonna kind of curl my tail around him, just for quick,
Yeah.
in case I need to pull him away real fast. I'll have my tail to help.
Yeah, I'm sitting kind of at the back of the group on Fang, just kind of, okay, I guess we're watching this, but I'm keeping an eye out for anything fishy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna just lay out on the grass and just look at the dirt wherever we're at.
Can
Um,
I
just look
can
at
I
the
just
clouds.
say can I say how much I just love the fact that our response to fishy behavior is to attack Tiger it?
So, just to kind of set the scene of where you guys are. So, this whole area is kind of like a hilly plain. Um, you're getting kind of close to the river, but it's still like well in the distance. So in the distance, there's like a foresty kind of, you know how rivers have like trees and stuff next to them. And then there's a long hilly forest, and it's like a meadow, but there's a road winding through the meadow. And when you guys met met Gordon, he kind of pulled his cart off to the side so that he's on the side of the meadow, and you guys are kind of sitting, like kind of in the grass, on the side of the road, and Gordon starts showing as Sapphire rides into Winfrey Castle, and Sapphire meets with a king, and Sapphire explains that she's looking for the crystals, and the king offers her a quest to find one of the great artifacts that will bring her closer to the crystal. And just so you know, in the world, nobody really knows what the artifacts are, so they make this shit up. But she says, Gordon says that Sapphire must find a circlet that, when she puts it on her head, will guide her to the crystal of fire. And he offers her this quest, and she goes off, and then he grabs a wyvern puppet, and she has the wyvern. He flies the wyvern in, and he shows a battle between Sapphire and the wyvern, and Sapphire is firing arrows at the wyvern, and it's dodging everything, and it finally comes down and attacks her and knocks her on her back, and is standing over her, and the wyvern says, "You look like a tasty morsel," and Sapphire says, she just pleads to her god, and to her god Mystra, "Save me, Mystra," and as she's pleading to Mystra to save her, another horse with a white knight on it comes riding in, and behind the white horse with the knight on it is a smaller pony with a woman with blonde hair and a staff on her back and a golden circlet around her head, comes riding in. And just as the wyvern is about to strike Sapphire, the knight on the horse holds up his hand, and a golden beam shoots down from the sky and strikes the wyvern, and it bursts into flames. And this is all done with puppets, so like as you guys are watching, you see that Borsik actually climbs into the wagon with Gordon, and when the white light kind of shoots down on the wyvern, he actually throws a bunch of paper down on him, and when the wyvern bursts into fire, he actually gets under the table, and he's throwing like orange thread up from underneath the table, and there's like a little clearly like a fan underneath the table that blows, and the fire kind of like blows up in the air as the wyvern burns to death. And then the Sapphire says, "Thank you, Mystra," and you find that the White Knight's name is Kadrin, and his sister Bree, and this is the beginning of how they met, and it goes on from there, telling the story of the dragon. And how long do you guys sit and watch this play for?
All of it.
I would like to roll history to see how accurate he is.
All of it.
So
I want to know if I should be offended.
From the history, no, this is very. It is the. It is a. So the story itself is accurate, like, of the meeting of.
He's just spiced it up for theatrics. I'm
Correct.
guessing.
He's taking a lot of poetic license with, like, her fighting the wyvern. She was supposed to have been into a battle, and then Kadrin saved her with Bree, and that she was mortally wounded, and Bree saved her life and brought her back from the dead, and that is how they became friends and things like that.
I'll let it go because I understand showmanship, but I'm gonna make a display of grumbling under my breath at how annoyed I am that he's not right.
These are seasoned performers. They could really care less about your behavior. They're just doing their show. So anyways,
I know.
And while we're watching, I'm gonna wrap Ugna.
I
Like
mean,
I'm gonna
it's
share my
free.
blanket with Ugna.
okay, so as you guys...
You're gonna touch my tail?
Sure, it's just a winter blanket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love Tulu. Anyway, so it goes on, and as it's going on, Sapphire and Kadrin, they venture into a dank, decrepit crypt, and as they're going through, they fight skeletons, and eventually they come to the end of the crypt and they fight a lich, and as they're fighting the lich, Sapphire takes a blast from a spell, and she falls to the ground, and she's near death, and Kadrin strikes the lich down with his mace and rushes to Sapphire's side, and Bree comes over and she heals her with her holy words, and as she comes back, Kadrin looks longingly into her eyes, and finally they say the words that they've wanted to say for so long, and they tell each other they love each other, and there's a kiss, and you see Bree wants nothing to do with it. She storms off, and the curtain kind of comes down at the end of the first act, and Borsik kind of jumps down from the cart, and he walks in front of you and he says, "That was a great first act, wasn't it, guys?" And he holds out his little bag.
I'm sorry.
I'll do a light little golf clap.
I'd love to support your guys' show, but I don't have any gold.
So his face goes from a big, huge smile, and he's still smiling at you, holding the bag out.
I will give you 5 gold pieces if you let us just leave and continue on our journey.
He just smiles and holds the bag out.
I can't put any coins in that bag, but we've really got to get going. The
So
storm,
when you
it was
say
excellent.
that you can't
But
put
we've gotta go.
any coins in the bag, his smile drops from his face and turns
Like I said, I will put these coins in the bag after you pack up that thing.
turns
So we
into
can
Pack up and
go.
go.
turns into a frown, and he walks over there, and Ugna's like looking at you guys like, what is but there's more of the play.
I know, but I want to watch it too, but I don't want to get wet.
And as
Oh,
you guys are saying
Yes,
that,
yes, Agna. Big cats don't like being wet.
you hear
Ugna, I need to show you one day. I'll tell it to you later.
And Ugna, what about your doll friend over here? I'm sure her porcelain skin does not do well underwater, and I glare at Poet challenging her to contradict what I just said.
as,
I actually haven't tested it.
Yeah, let's not.
as you guys
Yeah.
are talking, it begins to rain.
Fuck.
Ah,
And
I'm just gonna quietly go walk and stand underneath a tree and wait.
Yep,
And
saw this coming.
Borsik
I'm gonna put the blanket over my head.
is still standing there with a frown on his face and holding the bag.
Here we are.
I'll put a button from my embroidery kit in the bag.
Give him a bunch of teeth.
No, just put like 3 teeth.
When you
I'm holding my shield over Fang's head.
when you place the button in his bag, his frown turns to a scowl, and he still is standing there with the bag out, and he says,
Okay.
You have seen the show.
I'll give you 1 gold coin. But just
I'm gonna put 3
have a
teeth in
coin
there
to your
too.
Borsik. Get out of
I'm
my
gonna
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
do-
trot up. I'm gonna bring Fang. I'm gonna trot up beside him on my tiger. I'm gonna look down on him. I'm gonna drop a coin in his bag and be like, "Have a nice day."
Okay, so in total, how much do you guys give him?
A button,
91.
3 teeth, and 2 gold.
You gave him teeth?
Yeah,
Yes.
Button, 2 teeth, and 2 gold. So total
he
of,
didn't like the button.
of 2 gold pieces.
And I'm not paying for a
And
show.
some
I didn't ask
teeth.
for.
Okay.
If she put 2 gold and then I put a gold, so that would make it 3.
Okay. And then
And
you
I
guys
didn't.
start to walk away?
Yes.
Okay.
The gold piece is like a day's pay.
I understand that, Soma. Quiet down.
Yeah, so that's all I'll give him.
Okay, so hold on.
Do we never divvy up experience points from the fight last night?
No, I'm
Oh,
gonna
we
give
don't until we get to towns, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Okay, hold on.
Dun dun dun.
DM mystery rolling is never good.
No.
Duff.
We need that sound.
Mystery roll. Oh, like the sound of a roll, or the
no,
sound
no,
of
the dun dun dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Alright, let me go look at my little table here.
Oh god. We're gonna get cursed.
Okay,
If,
so
if my soul gets stolen by a doll, I'm gonna be so pissed.
so you guys are you
we
guys
all
are
end
just,
up dolls.
You guys are just walking away?
Is that racist to poet? I'm not sure.
I'm gonna still
Yeah.
okay. I'm walking away, but I'm still kind of on guard.
Okay, so
Yeah,
as you guys are
I'm
walking
certain
away,
this
you just see Borsik, and he's standing in the middle of the road watching you guys, holding his bag out, and you just see a scowl on his face as you guys are walking away, and he's just staring at you.
Oh, this can only end well.
You've made an enemy,
Bring it.
guys.
My tiger will eat you.
Look,
don't
I'm
say that.
sorry.
Oh,
And
You're asking an artist for money. I mean, what did you expect?
as you guys are walking away,
We didn't want to see the show to begin with. It's his
yeah,
fault.
he kind of forced us
Yeah, I'm not
into
paying
it.
for a show I didn't ask for.
you see you see Borsik, and he snaps his fingers a few times. And,
Uh-oh.
And you
Can
just,
I roll a perception check on what's about to happen?
You
You're about to
hear,
hear what's gonna happen.
you hear right next to you. I don't know if any of you guys can hear the thunder from the thing, but you just hear like thunder start to roll across the horizon. And right as he snaps his fingers the third time, the light kind of drizzle turns into a downpour.
Oh crap!
Okay.
And he just stands there in the pouring rain, just glaring at you guys as you walk away.
Should
I'm
I
sorry.
should I roll for Arcana to see if there's some sort of magic going on?
You can if you
Oh,
want.
there's definitely magic.
Okay, I'll try.
Can I roll
Yes!
religion to see if we just got fucked over by like
There is incredibly powerful magic going on.
Wait,
Oh, I think we pissed off a god, guys.
wait, a god?
It's possible. Sometimes they come down and test people for kicks.
It's been so long. What? Do you think
mean,
he's really
okay.
a god?
I would, if this is a
I don't
god,
think it's a
it
god,
can't be.
but
Listen, it can't be a good god because if he's a god, I'm assuming he knows what we're doing, and if he thinks that we would pause our journey for there's a man's life at stake versus sitting down here and watching a play. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
he's a god, he might know what happened to the others.
What made you guys think he's a god, or what made you think?
I don't think
He's a
a
god.
god.
Why
but
would
he
you
might
claim
be.
no, I don't
I'm
think
just
it's a god.
pointing it out. Just like if it
Yeah,
is a
he
god,
is.
then I don't care if he's mad because he would rather us, put someone's life at risk for kicks.
I'm stating it as a
He's not
possibility
intimidating me.
because there are
How much
stories
does he
about
want?
that happening.
And I look at you two and I go,
Well, there's a lot of
I-
possibilities. He could be
There's a
just a
lot of-
normal dude, and that his snaps were a coincidence. Let's
I
move.
don't know. There's powerful magic in the air. I definitely sense that. Like it's
I'm
Oh.
still walking.
weird.
Let's just go before it gets closer.
So as you guys walk down the street, or down the trail, you just see that Borsuk doesn't move. He stands in the middle of the road, holding his bag and glaring at you as he fades into the distance.
I'm sorry. I don't have anything to give. Just buttons and teeth.
And Ugna, just
You-
out of
Maybe-
nowhere,
running the
as
direction.
Ugna's falling behind you, he goes, "Man, that was a really good play. I really enjoyed that. That was really good. Did you see those dolls? Those were super cool dolls. Like, he was really good with those dolls, too. Did you see how they moved? They looked like they were real. And then the fire and the stuff coming out of the sky. Did you see all of that stuff? That was really cool. I think we should have stayed and watched the whole thing, but I guess you guys
guys.
are out of bit.
They're real fucking puppets. He's going to curse us. He's going to try to minimize us.
And
He's gonna try to minimize us.
as you guys were...
I like my soul where it is. Thank you very
as you guys
much.
go walking down the road,
You guys are quite superstitious. Can we move?
you just hear Ugna just talking a mile a minute just about how cool the play was and how like he keeps going over some of the lines and how much he liked it. And like there was a little part where there was like a character that did a dance and he tries to mimic the dance while he's walking. And he's having a great old time. He's not scared at all.
Okay, well, at least he's not scared.
Okay. So you guys continue.
Oh, I'm not scared.
You guys
keep
are
going.
gonna
I'm extremely cautious.
There's no shame in being scared.
You guys are continuing down the road, and he fades off into the distance, and it's a really kind of icky day now. It's storming real hard. The rain is just pouring down, and it gets to about midday, and you guys are all starting to get hungry. Are you guys gonna keep walking and eat on the move, or are you guys gonna stop and set up a camp to have lunch?
Let's keep moving. The guy said that there was
Yeah.
a town not too far
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, there's
let's
men coming up.
let's keep moving. I'll I got jerky and I got some meat I can feed to Fang. So
Yeah, let's use the
We keep
jerky
going.
one.
yeah,
Keep
I'll
that
pass
way.
out some jerky too. Be like, here you guys, here, eat some of this.
Thanks.
I got some water
Thank
if anybody needs it.
There's plenty from the sky right now.
So you
I
guys
get cold easily.
you guys keep walking down the road, and it's about another hour or so passes, and I just need anybody to roll me a d20.
Pick someone,
What is it? Perception or?
or else you're gonna
No,
get like
just,
4
uh,
d20s.
It's for my table.
Okay.
You guys roll. It's like a travel table I have.
How do I roll just a plain d20?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, Poet already rolled.
Poet rolled it for me.
Oh, how do you roll? So on the left hand side, there's like a bar that has an arrow in that. There's like a dice.
Oh,
looks like a D20.
yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, on rolls like this, would you rather me just roll it, or do you guys want to roll it yourselves?
Well, if
No,
if
we can
we're
roll it.
gonna roll it, pick somebody to do it
Okay.
because then we're gonna have like
Yeah.
a-
Here.
I'll do that.
If we're caught by surprise, though, it probably makes more sense for you to roll since we're getting caught off guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So
True.
Like you
an
see, like
11.
encounter tables, like sometimes you have like essentially like it's checking to see if we do run into an encounter.
That's
or not.
exactly what's happening. So the way it works for travel, so I have a table, and the first d20 is whether or not something happens, and then I have another table of like a category of things that happen, and then I have another,
Yeah.
and I actually have a little automatic
Like
dice
Dungeon
roller
Games,
here.
They have like that all the players roll, and it's a D6, and basically like 3 or higher. Like 3 is neutral, and then above 3 is good, and then below 3 is something bad happens. And like if only one player rolls something bad happens, then just the bad thing happens to them. But if like more than half the group rolls bad thing happens, then like an encounter happens or something like that.
Yeah, it's similar to that. So yeah, it's some things like that. So as you guys are walking down the road, you guys see in the distance just like an enormous pack of birds. Like there's just millions of birds flying towards you. Not millions.
Oh, lovely. I'm gonna
Hundreds.
look around for somewhere to
Hundreds of birds flying towards
Right.
find
like,
coverage.
Dodge action.
Are they,
are they flying low or?
I mean, for birds, they're flying low, but they're not like at head height or anything. They're maybe like 50 feet in the air.
I'm gonna just kind of hold my bow and prepare just in case.
Are they like trying to scare us or
so-
something?
So Varric, you
I'm looking around to
you
see if
look
they're running
around.
from something.
You look around and there's really no like trees or anything.
Yeah.
You're kind of in a clear area. There's maybe like some
Hey
like,
guys,
hilly areas you could hide in, but nothing really to take cover.
I
Can
don't
I
see
do a
anywhere we
nature
could
check
hide, but
on the birds to
there
see
might
if
be
I
something over in
recognize
those
any flight
hills.
pattern or anything?
You may, Orsic. So, as you're looking at them, they're starting to get closer, and you see that there are hundreds of ravens flying towards you.
Fireball. Oh wait,
Like
nobody has
like
fireball.
in our direction or at us.
Like they're in your direction. They're flying like along the trail.
These ravens concern me, considering the dungeon we were in.
Well, let's just keep moving and see if they do anything.
And as you guys just continue,
Let's what we should do is shift direction kind of where we're moving to see if they turn towards
Yeah,
us.
exactly. We should.
so you guys kind of shift direction off of the path, and you guys are walking for like maybe another like couple of minutes, like maybe a minute longer, and they're just getting closer and closer, and then they just fly right past you, and there's hundreds of them, and you hear the caw caw, and they just fly past you, and it's loud, and there's lots of them, but they just fly right by you, and you see them start to travel into the distance.
Was that
Well,
from the
that's
direction
good.
of the town?
Yes.
Creepy.
It's probably fine.
I don't think
Was
that
it the
bodes
direction
well.
of the town?
It seems like a bad omen.
What
Quite.
was that? What was that, Soma?
Was that from the direction of the town?
You're kind of quiet again.
Yeah, he is.
Hold on. Let me try something. Here's what I'll do. I'll turn my volume all the way up, and I'll turn you guys down a little bit. Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
That worked. And if I switch my
Yeah, if those came from the direction of the town and the fact that they're
Yeah, that's what I
storming,
was
they're
saying,
following
too.
that wagon, I think that wagon is fishy. We're gonna have to remember them.
They're gonna be in my nightmares.
well, crows are like they do pick on the dead, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a gathering of this size, it could be possible there was a battleground nearby they were feeding on.
What about
Yeah,
because like a lot of
army
times when big,
undead?
because a lot of times when like like you said, like a battle happens, like they just go to town and
There's a reason they're called a murder of crows.
Wouldn't the
said they were
negative
were
It's true, yeah.
wouldn't the negative energy of any undead have scared them off? Maybe that's why they were flying so fast.
Maybe.
So what do
Hold
you
on, I
guys?
think I can cast Detect Magic.
I can too if need be.
Okay, if you would like to.
Actually, Poet, let me, in case something breaks out, we'll need your offensive spells.
Yeah, I don't have Detect Magic anyways.
I do, so just let me.
Okay, go for it.
Let's see. It only works within 30 feet of me, though.
I mean,
It's up to you guys.
I think you should.
Okay, so you cast Detect Magic, and there's very clearly like a residue of magic still in the air, but it feels very similar to what you felt earlier, and it is kind of a mix between invocation and illusory magic.
It seems that
Invocation
Borsig
and
might-
illusionary.
It seems like Borsig might still be influencing us in some way. We should keep our eyes open. There's something not right about the area we're in. He might be making us see
Okay.
things.
Okay, so what do you guys do? Do you want to continue down the trail?
Well, yeah, let's continue towards the river.
I would like to get out of this rain.
Okay.
Does somebody know what direction we're heading to make sure we are heading the right direction?
We're heading to the town, so.
Yeah, if
Yeah, I
you
know. but
The trail kind of
directional.
In terms of facing, yeah.
If somebody's using illusion to mess with us, that means we might not be going the direction we think we're going.
so you know
we need to be doubly sure.
that the road that you guys are
Yeah.
that you guys are following